Hi, I'm C.E. Laureano, author of the Song of Seare Celtic Fantasy trilogy, and today I'm going to be answering my top 3 reader questions. So number 1, why did you choose to write Celtic Fantasy? Well, if you can see my keeper shelf over here, you wouldn't have to ask that question because almost all of it is fantasy and a good chunk of it is Celtic and Dark Ages. So it's something that I've been interested in as a reader for a really long time. It was kind of natural to write in that area when it came time to write my own series. And there's another reason though. When I was reading through all of these books, there's kind of the sense that the coming of Christianity destroyed the Celtic culture. And the truth is actually much more complicated than that, as opposed to other parts of the world where Christianity often came with conquering armies and was kind of imposed on the people. It came to Ireland gradually over the course of centuries via missionaries. So what we have is really kind of a unique form of Celtic Christianity that reflects the local people's cultures and values as well. And it's not something that was imposed upon them from the outside. So I wanted to write a series that kind of reflects that, but also be able to take some fantastical license with my story and with the background as well, which is why I decided to set it on Seare, a secondary world, as opposed to in Ireland, as much Celtic fantasy is set. So that actually brings me to my second most common reader question. How much of Seare is based on Ireland and how much is made up? A good chunk actually is based on Ireland. The culture, some of the mythology, a lot of the details like the food and the types of castles they had, the kind of clothes that they would wear, the weaponry, the fighting styles, the fact that they were actually very concerned with personal hygiene, which outside the Roman Empire was not all that common. A lot of that was based on Ireland itself. But I did take quite a bit of license with other areas of the story. Like the coming of Balianism, the story behind that was completely different, obviously, than Christianity, even though the two religions have much theologically in common. The kind of paganism that I describe is actually much different than what you would have found in Ireland, in the roles of the Druids and the history. That was largely made up. Things like the standing stones and the purpose that they had in the religion. Frankly, we don't understand a lot of that. We don't know for sure, but I kind of made up my own explanation of it and fit it into the story. So kind of the feel of the world is definitely going to be historically based. That was how we think Ireland would have been between the 3rd and the 10th century, but a lot of the other stuff was made up just to give the story its own kind of character. The third question and the final question that I have been getting a lot lately is, why do you let bad things happen to good characters? And the reason why I do is for the very reason we still ask that question today. Sometimes things happen in life that are incomprehensible. And I feel like when you're trying to write a story that feels real and has lessons to learn, you can't have the sense that everything is 100% going to turn out all right in the end, because real life isn't like that. We're not sure what's going to happen. We don't know what the results of our actions are going to be. And that kind of is the whole point. There would be no reason to have faith if we knew what the outcome was. And I really did want that sense of uncertainty in the books, that anyone could go, that something bad could happen to main characters, that you weren't sure what was going to happen to them, because I think without that sense, you have no real courage. Without the fear, both in real life and in fiction, you have no heroism. If we knew that every action that we were going to take was going to turn out perfectly in the end, it's not courage. We would have no reason for it, and we would have no reason to trust God. So I really did go for the realism in the story, even though some hard things happen. And I really hope that readers come away feeling that, yeah, even though we're not guaranteed a tomorrow, and even though we're not guaranteed a perfect outcome all the time, we can trust God's overall plan, and there's a bigger purpose for us. And we're here for more than just our own safety and comfort. We're here to play a part in a bigger plan. So if you have any other questions, please leave them in comments below. I am more than happy to answer them via email or in future videos. If you're curious about the stories, it begins with Oath of the Brotherhood, and the second book is Beneath the Forsaken City, and the final in the series is The Sword and the Song. So thanks so much for joining me, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.